Breaking right now, we've learned one Utah man that was on that Japanese cruise ship has tested positive for the coronavirus.
John Harry caught the virus on a cruise. He had pneumonia, and then he beat it while at a hospital in Japan. His wife, Melanie, was never infected.
My husband and I were on a 6-month vacation, and we got on the Diamond Princess for a 29-day cruise. We were told then that someone had contracted the virus that had gotten off the ship in Hong Kong. We were on a quarantine for 14 days. And during that time, my husband developed a fever.
Melanie Herring said that her husband, John, spiked a fever on Monday. They swabbed him for the virus, and he was transported off the ship.
The cruise ship had over 700 people who contracted the coronavirus. I was one of those people. I had a high fever, was nauseated for about 4 days, but after that, I've had no symptoms, I've had no respiratory problems, and I was sent back to the United States.
An emotional moment as Melanie and John Herring embrace after weeks apart. They're hoping their story will help clear misconceptions about the virus.
Well, Melanie and John are joining us via Skype, so thank you two for joining us. You had to be really surprised when you tested positive, John, correct?
Shocked the heck out of me. I thought for sure that I was okay, and when they took the swabs and came back the next day, it was a huge shock for me that I tested positive.
You guys say at this point you're not afraid of the virus at all, and you would go on another cruise.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
Yes, we would.
John, take us through this, because you're the first person I've talked to that actually contracted the virus and it played out. What were your symptoms? When did it first, did you know something was wrong, and what was the course? How long did it last, and what did you experience?
Okay. It was about 6 days into quarantine. The cruise ship had given us all the thermometers, so it was like a new toy. We kept taking our temperature and showing it to each other and saying, look, I'm still normal, I'm still normal. But about the 6th day into the quarantine, I started seeing my temperature start to rise, and then I also got a headache. So as it kept rising and rising, we couldn't get it to slow down, and it got up to about 104 degrees, and it stayed there for the next 3.5 days. I had nausea, which I wasn't able to eat, and the headache went away, but the fever was relentless. It stayed there the whole time.
And Melanie, you never showed any symptoms, even though you were in very close proximity to him.
Right. I felt great.
Now, Dr. Johnson, you make the point that John's experience is probably going to be typical for the vast majority of people that contract this virus.
Yes. And that's why I think the practicality here is that this is a respiratory illness, which I think most of us are going to contract at some point in the coming year or so. That's why people should stay home if they're sick. He stayed in and he didn't go out and infect other people, is that this probably is going to be something we all experience, just like the influenza virus.